And we are live. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Respect the Craft. This is episode number 206. And I'm joined once again by the good brother here, making his official first podcast return as well. We got Big Game Leroy in the building. What's going on, brother?
Listen, I got to quote John Wick. I'm thinking I'm back.
There we go.
I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty pumped, and Ray, it had to be you. Like it has to be you. So I'm glad I get to come back with you and do this and catch people up to what's been going on with me. It's been almost a year since I tore the whole ACL.
And it's funny because I was trying to find the number. I was like, what was the last time I had you on? It was episode 114. And I was like, okay, cool. It's been almost 100 episodes. That works. And then I'm like, yeah, the last time we spoke, we're like, yeah, hopefully the next time we talk, we have bigger things to talk about. I don't think this is the way we were thinking.
No, not at all.
Yeah, let's be your return episode. That way you can talk about the big return. Yeah, I don't think this is what we were thinking a year ago.
Yeah, I don't think my life, and I can't even just say wrestling. I don't think my life a year ago I thought was going to go the way it did. No. I'm not particularly religious, but I do think the universe moves in mysterious ways, and I do think things are they play out the way they're kind of supposed to. And as you know, on both a more personal level and the professional things, my path in wrestling is very, very weird, very fortunate, good to a lot of people from the outside, but very weird when you really think about it.
Definitely. And that was one of the things. It's like, hey, like knowing you personally, it was like, hey, he's been back for a minute now. Like he hasn't left, but okay. To the wrestling world, he's back now. We have him here. And from that, we have someone from that same circle right there. We got Smiley in the building. Good evening.
Yes, I don't care. Smiley, one of my trainers. I will say that. I have to say it. It's Smiley, one of the guys who helped train me. Oh, man, love that guy. He made a post for me earlier. Oh, Wrestler's Lab. Yes, Wrestler's Lab, the place I'm coming back to, a company that is very near and dear to my heart. It was it really pained me. I think they ran a show in the summer in Pittsburgh, their Pittsburgh debut, and the first solo Pittsburgh debut, and it really bothered me to miss that show, and I was genuinely heartbroken. And I was like, oh man, I think I was literally messaging Chris, who I know you spoke to last week, and I was literally like, I think I'm gonna be good for it. I got hurt in crutches. I think I might be good for it.
He's like, I can still do a spot. He's like, I can still do a spot or two. Like, no, Leroy. Like, no.
I could do a Rana with one leg. I just, I think I can do it.
You could, but should you now? That was a different story.
I mean, wrestling, you know what I mean? Like, listen, wrestling is not good for your health in a vacuum. I know that. Anybody who steps into a ring knows that. And I was always of the mindset of like, hey, I'm doing this till my body tells me, and my body told me,
So before we get into the happy talk and all that, and again, also I should have said Happy New Year, brother. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, brother. Happy New Year, everybody watching.
To everyone watching, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. It's still January. Till February, then I'll stop. I'll stop saying Happy New Year. But let's talk about that. The unfortunate injury. Unfortunately, it happens in the We Are Wrestling Heavyweight Championship tournament. You're facing Dan Moff.
Yeah.
And I just want to get into the mindset when you knew something was off, when you knew something was wrong, what's going through your mind, and just what happens next.
So the craziest thing is this match meant a lot to me on a personal and professional level. I think it's been really awesome to be able to wrestle like the people who came, like my predecessors, like the people who paved the way for guys like me, the guys who kind of, ran the East Coast independent scene. And I looked at that match with Dan Moff as like, oh, this is a test. This is a test match. Maybe it's not wrestling AEW or this or that person or whatever. It's not Hollywood. It's not glamorous, but it's going to be a fight. And this is a test to see where I'm at in my life and professionally. So I was going to this match, Dan Moff, going like, I might taste up some blood. I might get choked out. My chest might be red, but listen, I'm going in there ready for a fight, and I'm going to do my best to win because listen, it's a title tournament, and We Are Wrestling is another company that I feel like, this is a place that I need to cement myself at, and I'm trying to cement myself at. And what better way than by being the first champion, right? So, I go into the match. At first, we're thinking that Dan Moff might not even show up. He shows up. I'm ready to go. I don't waste no time. Dive on him. He's trying to put the boots and the fists to me, and then really put a hurting on me. And I remember there was a moment where like I slid off of his back. I planted, and my friends who were watching says that my leg did a little weird in and out, like a little creak creak, which it's interesting because I felt that feeling before. My leg has done that before. And when I did it, I was like, oh, okay. That felt funny. I didn't like that. I didn't like how that felt. And I remember going, okay. I push him into the post. Boom. I toss him back into the ring. I was like, oh, I really don't like that. That doesn't really feel good. And the exact thought in my head was, okay, if I can climb up to the top rope and I can do this crossbody, then I'm fine. I'm good. We'll be good. I'll be able to finish this match, be able to go to the next round, win the title, win the tournament, celebrate in the Bronx. I'm not a big Bronx guy, but listen, we're celebrating in the Bronx, right? So I climb up to the top rope. I'm feeling a little wobbly. He's starting to get up. I'm like, it's out. It's now or never. I jump. I hit the crossbody. I was like, oh, clean. And I literally thought, so. I was like, oh, I was clean. I pin him. He kicks out. And I was like, oh, I'm good. We're doing this. We're good. I try to get up. My left leg goes, and I was like, oh, I can't. He's back up to his feet. I know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to throw a drop kick at him. I'm like, all right. I was like, oh, okay. I try to draw a drop kick. I throw it at his knees. Throw it at his knees.
Hey, that still works against Dan Moff. It's like, let's take a base down.
So I throw the drop kick at his knees, his shins. I think knee is a little giving myself a little too much credit. I think it was at his shins.
Okay. Well, I think you targeted the knee. Unfortunately, the shin is what got connected there. But okay.
Yeah.
So you hit the shin.
So I'm there, and I like literally couldn't. I had the moment of like, okay. And remember, I was trying to get high. I was trying to throw a regular drop kick.
Yeah, he wasn't aiming that. He was trying to let's hit an actual drop kick here.
So I was like, okay. Yeah. And then the ref, Mr. Black, the ref, at the time, God rest him, because God bless him, because he took care of me, and of course, the first thing that comes over is like, you good? And I was like, I think so. I was like, my knee feels funny though. Give me a second. I use the ropes. I'm trying to climb my way back up, and then I completely, collapse. So then I'm down, and I'm like, okay, wow, ow, that hurts. Wow, okay, this really hurts. I feel like spaghetti legged in one leg, and I was like, I don't like the way this feels at all. So, I'm trying to catch my bearings. The ref is backing Moff up, trying to be like, yo, like, hey, give him space. He's hurt. Da-da-da. Moff grabs the mic. He cuts a promo. He's talking about like, hey, I thought you were from New York. I thought you were tough. My adrenaline is pumping. And I'm like, I'm not going to let him, sun me like this. Not like that. Not like that. Listen, sir, you're my vet. You're someone who paved the way for me. You came up with my trainer. You helped private party, my friends, a lot of my brothers and sisters. I give you the respect, but so I get up. I hobble up on one leg. There's a really cool picture that J. Lee Photography has of it, because I'm just grilling him, and there's I'm pissed off, and I hit him with all of the might in my body, and I cannot give any hyperbole to that. I hit him with everything I have, and then I collapse again. And then he puts me in a sleeper hold, and then I tap out, and then that's the match. And obviously, I think myself and other people would have wanted the match to maybe go a little bit longer. I think that myself and Moff would have wanted, maybe more of an actual fight. And I'm sure he didn't feel good winning that way, going just beat a kid with one leg. It's not exactly a great victory. But all things considered, I'm glad that things turned out okay. I know immediately from that moment on, I think it was pretty clear to everybody that I was, legitimately and probably seriously hurt at that point.
Yeah, I think if you collapsing the first time didn't let people know, that second time it's like, oh yeah, he's something's wrong, because he shouldn't be collapsing like that. Like, Moff didn't touch him again, and he's down.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. All my own offense, So And I think it's funny because people think that it was the suicide dive that I hot started the match with that was the tear. And I kind
Yeah.
of get it, but no, it was literally he threw me over his shoulder. I
Okay.
slid down, I posted him, and it was when I landed, when I tried to post him, I guess I planted wrong. Maybe my legs are too far apart. I don't really know.
Again, it's one of those where the just unfortunately it's a freak accident that you never
Yeah,
know
yeah.
when it could happen. Because I remember we spoke about this. I thought it was on the crossbody. I didn't know
Mm,
that's where you're thinking. If I can do this, I should be okay. I'm thinking that's where it happened. Maybe a lost footing or something. And when you go up for it, that's where it happens. Not
no.
knowing, oh no, you're already messed up at this point.
And I did the
And
crossbody.
decide, let me hit a crossbody.
This is the part, and this is my I'm glad I get to say this, 'cause I don't know, I've said this probably to some other people, but I don't think I've said this in front of a camera or in front of
Well,
anybody.
we're
But
on the
like
air
that
now.
is my badass wrestling moment. And I'm gonna skip a little bit ahead to when I first did my first PT, and I remember showing him the video footage because I was like, hey, I'm a wrestler. I'm not doing this PT so I could just walk downstairs without pain. I'm doing this so I can do it and do it well again and do it the same, if not better.
Yeah.
So I showed him the footage of it, and he's like, "Oh, this is impressive, young man." And I was just like, "Yeah, thanks, man." And I was like, "Yeah, like I had torn my ACL already." He was like, "Wait, what?" And I was like, "Yeah, the crossbody. Like I had torn it like a few seconds ago." And he was like, "And you jumped off of like what looks like 10 feet high and landed on another man." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "That's not how ACLs work. You're not supposed to be able to do that with one leg. You're not supposed to be able to do that. Like how?" And I was just like, I'm a very good wrestler.
See, this is why I also thought it possibly happened there. Because I'm like, he's in this much pain. Because I can imagine you're in pain already. And just wee. And
Yeah,
just
it was a
jump
clean
on
crossbody. I've done worse crossbodies without tearing my ACL, which is the crazy part. I literally was like, damn, that was a really clean crossbody for me. Good job, Leroy. I literally thought that to myself. I was like, you know what? Nah, I'm good.
I now know what I'm clipping for tomorrow. I'm gonna clip the crossbody and clip this clip of us talking about it, just so you all can see how clean this crossbody was and why it shouldn't have been this clean.
Yeah, no,
he's
it's because you see, if you look at because I posted on Instagram, if you look at the full clip, you see me gingerly, like I'm going up the top rope very slowly. You
Yeah.
see it there. I'm like, oi, okay, top, and then the jump, and it's like, oh, he's good. Why'd he go up so slow?
Don't worry, it will be posted tomorrow again. But if you want to see the full match, go to We Are Wrestling's YouTube channel. The whole tournament is there. You can see what leads up to their next show now. That would be in a few weeks. They'll be having their return to the Bronx with Don't Call It a Comeback.
Yeah,
So
don't
check
call
them
it
out
a
there.
comeback. What a fitting name. P. Rosato's really good with them wrestling names, and he's really good with them show names. I'm always quite a fan of them. But yeah, so let me segue back. So
Yep.
I think at that point everybody knew that the match was February 2nd. I think at that point everybody knows that like I'm hurt. My favorite thing of this is like, so Pete, refs, everybody's checking on me and stuff like that. Nikolai White comes from the back. You good, bro? And I'm like, nah. He picks me up like a small infant child in his arms, single-handedly scoops me up and carries me to the back. I don't even know. I will never, ever allow anybody to say a single negative thing about Nikolai White to my face. I will never allow it. I will slap them. I will push them. I will whatever. I will do what I need to do. I will kick them in the face. I'll smack them with my switch. I don't care. That man on my Tory ACL carried me to the back single-handedly to make sure I was good. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little emasculated. But it was like, damn, Nikolai, you're strong. You're strong.
I gotta give it to him. Hey, he thought, you know what? He can't walk right now. Let's do this. Make sure no brother left behind. We're picking him up, take him to the back.
I love Nikolai, man. He's a really good brother for that. He's a little eccentric. I know we all know this about him, but he is a good brother for real. And I really appreciate him for that. And I've told him that every single time I've seen him since then. I'm like, dude, thank you. And he's like, He just shrugs, and I'm just like, I guess I got to drink more water. Like,
Hey, there you go. That stays. That's the mantra right there. Even though now I've seen he's going through like this weird transformation now.
yeah,
Jimi
he's got a full
Hendrix is now a
mask
thing.
now. I mean, I'm still getting caught up on all the things. You know, I'm in, but I'm not in it. I'm kind of, you know, I spend a lot of time like kind of just not really paying attention too much and kind of giving myself a soft break from wrestling.
Gotcha.
So like now I'm reacclimating. Now I'm really paying attention. Like, all right, what's the companies? What's the moves? Who's hot? Who's not? What's going on? How are people changed? And like, you know, it's been really interesting to see a lot of that stuff.
That's what happened. Now that's the explanation. It was just he had the stamina built up. He had enough to use a power up there, and there we go. It was ready. The signature was there. Crossbody. Moff took it and just had resiliency. It was done. It was like, nope.
Yeah, listen. I listen, I can never say I won an Olympic medal with a broken freaking neck, but I did hit a clean crossbody with a torn freaking ACL. So like, listen, if that's for me, that's for me. And like, if people, you know what I mean? I was like, you know, I'm proud of myself, and I know that I'm as tough as they come. And that's something that I'm really excited to hold with me as I make this comeback of like, yeah, man, like I know how tough I am now. I know I can get through this. And I think that a lot of athletes, I'm not going to just say wrestlers, a lot of athletes say constantly, you know, you don't know how, you know how tenacious you are, how strong you really are till you go through a serious injury.
Yeah.
And I always thought for a long time, I'm like, okay, like I get it, but like then you go through it and you're like,
then you go through it. Yeah, it's a different mindset. Which now I do want to talk about that, because now we talk about the injury when it happens. Now, again, from a personal level, I know how you were going, how all this was, but could you share a little bit with the folks at home, just now the mindset about thinking, do you eventually make a comeback here? How was that idea of, because an injury like this, again, it's one of those where it can put this thought into the mind of, was this it? Like, maybe we hang it up here. Like, again, you've had some great moments in the business. And is this one of those where just, you know what, maybe this was it?
I'm not even gonna lie. I think that was like one of the first thoughts I had when I was in the ambulance and when I was going, and I had a moment where I was like, damn, I'm like in my full gear, half naked. They got to tear off my wrestling boots and my knee pads, and I'm in this emergency room, and I'm like, I'm doing this, and you know, I very much know that I've accomplished a lot of really cool things in wrestling, and I know that because of the injury and because I had spent so much time reflecting on it. And I think that I had a moment of like, damn, I've had a really cool run. I've been able to do some really cool things. I literally, you know, I'm on Peacock on Evolve shows right now on the WWE Network. I have gotten to wrestle on AEW Dark. I've been able to travel to Canada and wrestle, you know, outside this country multiple times. I've been all over the country. I've met so many cool people, and that's the stuff I really hang on. Like, I've met so many really freaking cool people. I've been able to do so many cool things, and it's really just because of wrestling. You know, I would have not had this life if I hadn't, you know, walked into the House of Glory dojo when I was 17 years old. Like, this stuff doesn't happen, and I am incredibly grateful. And because of that, I was like, oh, thank you. I thank you. I do feel like the man. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I was like, you know, is this it? Like, and should I like maybe focus on, you know, and I don't care. I'll pull back the curtain a little bit. Like, do I focus on like my day job? Do I jump more into that? You know, do I maybe just say, hey, like this wrestling thing, you know, this thing, maybe it's not cut out for me. And maybe this is the stuff that I need to kind of move forward from and I need to move on from. Maybe it was this thing that I was doing in my early 20s, you know, maybe as I turn, you know, I'm 27 now. And it's like, this is this thing now where I'm like, yeah, I know I'm super young still, like both in the business and in like real life. But like, is this now a thing of like, hey, maybe my life does need to just move on now. Maybe I need to move on from this thing. And you know, I thought about it, and it was the initial injury. Like, so I got hurt. I think it was March 23rd or something like that. And no, I wasn't even thinking like that. I was like done. Like if I not to say like I have to be a wrestler, but like it's like I love the wrestling. I love the activity of wrestling. I love being in the ring. I love wrestling in front of no people. I love training. I love all of it. Like I'm just built like that, you know, and it comes from training for 10, 11 hours in the House of Glory Dojo. I'm going to reference a lot of the past, and I know Ray knows it, and, you know, whatever. And I'm not even trying to, like, you know, whatever, but it's also just like, yo, like, that's how I came up.
No,
I
yeah, of
love,
course. This is what we knew. This is the life. This is
yeah.
yeah.
And it's like, you know, and to be getting older in wrestling, going to other schools, teaching and training at other schools, kind of was like, oh, it's not like this in other places. And the era that I came up in, you know, the Quinn, the Smiley, the Isaiah, the Ken, the me, the Maddie, Evander, Montequia, like that era like that doesn't exist anymore. Those guys all are, you know, God rest Maddie, but like all of us are still active and we're still talent, but like, we don't train that way no more. We don't go to Hog at 4 p.m., open it up, do beginners class, warm up with the beginners. Then Red comes at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. Then we do advanced class till 10 p.m. Like we don't do that. Nobody trains for 6, 7, 8 hours. Maybe in Japan, but they don't. Nowhere in this area does anybody do anything like that. And you know, I think that's where the toughness came from. And then I had the moment of like, I love this too much, and not in a I don't have other things going on. And I was very adamant and intentional about that. Like, I have other things going on. I have a really decent side, like, thing that I do besides wrestling. I have a really great support system of friends in wrestling and outside of wrestling. I have a good family that supports me to even, like, do the wrestling stuff. Because listen, you know, sometimes it's like, yo, the idea of wrestling and trying to make a living on that, and, you know, me getting hurt and stuff like that, that could have been a thing that my family was like, yo, what are you doing with your life? And I was like, they just asked me, you know, my mom was just like, is this what you want to keep doing? Like, is this really what you want? And I was like, yeah, I think so. I have to see this through, because the way I feel right now, and especially now, is I've been so fortunate and so grateful that I've been able to say that, like, you know, and some of this, you know, there's a lot of like context and stuff like that, but to be able to, like, if I was 16 years old or 14, I'm gonna say 14 because that's when I really started becoming a smart fan, a smart mark.
Yeah, I got you.
When I was 14 years old, if you would have told me that people like the Amazing Red, people like Johnny Gargano, people like Tommaso Ciampa, people like Danhausen, people like Adam Cole, Keith Lee would give me advice, say they've seen my stuff, say that they like my stuff, saying that I'm good, to keep grinding, to that I'm almost there, I would have told you you're a freaking liar. I say freaking, I wanted to say another F word, but like I would have said you're a freaking liar. That's not possible. Not even in my wildest dreams did I think I would get to this level.
No.
And I feel a responsibility. And I know this is the part where my mental health probably is not the greatest. Some people will say, oh, yeah, no, you shouldn't think that way. You shouldn't. I was like, no, I feel like there's a responsibility for me to finish this. I've been saying it to myself as a mantra. I have to finish this game. I have to see this through. And there's been too much invested into me, too much learning that I've done. And yeah, it's super inspiring for me. And then, like, I have to see it through. I have to use these tools.
Of course.
What was it for? It's for me to go retire at 29 and hang out on my couch and tell my kids, yeah, man, I was pretty decent. It was pretty decent back in my, you know what I mean? And that doesn't sit well with me. And for me, it's like, I got to see it through. And obviously my goals, thank you, Brittany. And my, you know, obviously, like, my goals are to get to the highest levels possible.
Of course.
That was the other thing, because it changed my outlook. There was a period in 2020, 2021 where I really felt like, you know, I'm fine with the indies. I'm fine with just making money here, traveling, working for everyone, being my own boss, you know, making my own merch, producing everything myself. And I really had fun doing that for a while, you know. And then I was kind of like, no, I'm burning myself out. And during, you know, right before my injury, 2022, like, I was really burning myself out doing all of that, producing your own merch, shipping stuff out, doing this, that, jumping on podcasts, doing this, doing that. And you're just like, how do I do it? And then at the same time, you have to work out, and then you have to train. And, you know, at the time I was also teaching at T2T. It was really overwhelming and really difficult. And I think the injury was like, okay, I need to be a little more selfish, a little bit more intentional about how I do things. And I need to make sure that I go out here and I'm doing what I want to do. And I'm going after what I want to go for, and not what people are telling me I should go for. And I'm like, hey, I want a contract. And not because I necessarily care about fame or money. I used to joke at T2T, hey, I made an Instagram because I know that you have to be a public figure if you want to be a wrestler in 2023. I said, hey, like I have a like if not, I would just have 5 followers and I would like just have it just so I could look at memes and send them to my friends and be stupid, you know? Um, and I was like, hey, I want to make it to the highest levels possible. So I know to myself, I'm that caliber of a talent. I'm that good. I want to do it, get to that level because I feel like there are stories I can tell, there are things I can do, and real good I could do with that platform as well. And I want to make sure that I see that through because there's a lot of cats. And this is the part where I sound just a little jaded, but I don't think it's jaded. I think it's just a little honest. There's a lot of cats out there getting a lot of opportunities who aren't grateful for them. They do nothing with their platform. They don't give back. They don't help. There's the best metaphor. I'll give you the perfect metaphor. This is also a clip moment. There's a lot of people in wrestling who set a table just so they can eat at it. There's a lot of wrestlers who go to tables just so they can take the food off the table. Not a lot of wrestlers go to the table and bring something to it. And I've always felt very proud of myself that when I would go to the table, when I go to a company, when I go to a show, I'd bring something to the table. I'd bring something there. Hey, I wrestle with a video game. I bring a little something different to the table. Hey, I'm a story and character driven guy, and that's what I'm about. There's a lot of things in the ring that I can't do, but you'd be very hard pressed to find someone that can make people feel things the way that I make people feel things. And I was that way long before I started wrestling with a Nintendo Switch, and I know you know that. And
I definitely do. I
and I
definitely,
know a lot.
again, knowing how you were, knowing how you are, and just the mentality's never changed.
It's never changed.
You know what it is now? It's become more apparent because I feel like because of the era we're in now. Like you said, it's that ever changing now of just how certain mentalities are that it's like who taught you this mentality? It's one of those where you see how other talent are and it's like, when did this become a thing?
Right, and
Like,
people have always been selfish in wrestling. Like, listen,
oh,
Hulk Hogan is a thing. Like, people have always been wrestling and selfish in
true,
wrestling.
true.
So, but my thing is like, I think it's because of this sense of, and I'm gonna try my best not to name any names, but there's some talent who I feel like they wrestle shows so they have something to post on Instagram.
No.
They do a thing so they can brag about it.
No.
And for me, it's like, I mean, I'm a pseudo content creator by trade because I'm a independent professional wrestler. And my feeling is like, okay, I post photos and clips and stuff of my matches and stuff so that my fans can engage with it. So my fans know what I'm doing. So my fans can have something of me to kind of respond to and have fun with. And, if I'm being funny, if I'm being whatever, if I'm trying to, explain or tell the story with me and this person, like me and Max Zero, I want people to know like, yo, this dude used to be one of my closest friends in the business. And then he turned on me and stole my Switch. Like, yo, like that's the dealio, that's the comeback. Hey, with Dan Moff, like, yo, this dude is one of the vets of this area. And if I'm going to be anything in this industry, I have to go through him. I can't go around dudes like that. Got to go through them, and so on and so forth. And that's what I want people to see. And some people are like, no, I want you to see me in the AEW in the back, taking a picture in front of the graphic. And I'm like, okay, cool. All right, cool. You just got 1,000 likes. Awesome, dude. Now what? Are you doing anything with that? Are you helping anybody with that? Are you trying to highlight something with that? Or are you just doing that so that you can tell the next dude who hits you up for a booking, oh yeah, actually it's $100 more now. And I can't knock that because that's the business. That's what you're supposed to do. But I'm not very good at doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm better at doing what feels right and what I think, and trying to help, and my thing is like, hey, like, I don't want to help just so that, like, I don't want to help if that means, oh yeah, Big Game Leroy is the best and Big Game Leroy gets everything. Like, no, there's some places I get fed. There's some places I won't get fed. There's some places I got to earn it. That's fine. I like it better that way. And there's no fun in playing games on easy mode. You only really earn it when you've had to struggle for it. And I'm very proud of myself because my whole career I've had to push and I've had to scratch and claw. And this injury was no different. It's like, yo, of course I'd get injured. I don't mean that like that, but like, I mean it like, yo, of course this would happen. I'm gonna push through it. I'm gonna get past this. This is just my life. I went from, and I think about this a lot, and I know you know this, and this metaphor is gonna work perfectly. I went from literally the lowest character on the House of Glory show, period. Even the commentators and refs were on a higher standing than me. I was the accessory of an accessory of an accessory of Ken. And I went from that to a champion, to a guy who could be the caliber to wrestle a name, to a guy that you could put on a flyer. And that was my feeling. And I was like, yo, like that's, yeah, it took years. Like that didn't happen in one day. That took years.
No, it definitely, but it showed that growth. And I feel like that's why a lot of people now, they definitely look at your story and look at as relatable, because it was, that hunger was always there. When you look at, again, from the start, you get that, you get the little growth, you get the referee, you get the, okay, now he wrestles. And oh, wait, he just became a champion. Oh, and you then get the moments. You get the big game Leroy versus Low Key. And you guys played Street Fighter in the middle of a sold out crowd.
And I won. I did beat Low Key. He'll probably see this one day and he'll probably be ready to kill me. But listen, I did beat him in Street Fighter, but I beat him. I beat Low Key in the ring.
I'm going to stay neutral on this because I would like to not die to Low Key one day.
Yeah. But no, and like my thing is also like people still bring this stuff up to me. The amount of talent that have told me like, hey, like you inspired me to get in the ring and start training myself. A lot of, wrestlers that I trained that I didn't even know. They're like, yo, I went to House of Glory show like 4 years ago. And I was like, yo, Leroy, this Leroy kid is so cool. Or like, just meeting so many different people who are like, yo, like, there was a time I went to Pittsburgh, and I hope Smiley might still be on this, or Saul, but like I went to Pittsburgh for Enjoy Wrestling last, or I guess it was in November before this last November.
Yeah.
It was November 2022,
okay.
And I wrestled in Pittsburgh. And I remember this one fan came up to me, bought my merch, and was like, yo, man, I've actually watched you wrestle in New York before. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's what's up. I was like, where did you go to? He's like, yeah, I saw you at House of Glory. And I was like, oh, yeah? He was like, yeah, I remember you literally took the craziest bump I have ever seen in professional wrestling. And I was like, oh, yeah? He was like, yeah, it was WrestleMania weekend, and this Smiley dude power bombed you out the ring onto a wooden ramp. And I was like, oh, that dude's dead. And you weren't, and you still won somehow. And I was like, that is really freaking cool. And all these years later, that was before the pandemic. And then you remembered it years later, met me at a merch table, bought my merch, remembered me by name, and was like, yo, you're the coolest dude. And that was all before I started wrestling with a Switch, before Evolve, before AEW Dark, before going viral 3-4 times. Like, that's cool to me. And I'm like, damn, this work that I did mattered to people. It got to people. Like, I might not have the hugest fan base, but the fans that I got are ride or dies, man. And I got to see this come back through for them, it feels like.
Got you. No, and I can, now that answers the question even more, just where the mentality comes from now, of where we're going and how this comeback needed to be a thing. So,
yeah, no, absolutely. Like, and I think it's definitely a little fan oriented. It's definitely a little bit like a responsibility. And I definitely am quoting Spider-Man with the great power, great responsibility. Like if I think I'm the best, which I feel like everybody should wake up in the morning and think they're the best at whatever they're trying to do or whatever they're trying to accomplish. If you're putting in the work, why think less of yourself? You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at these days. And I'm like, yo, if I think I'm the best, if I think I'm as good as I say I am, and I'm trying to push for this platform, push to get to this level, then I need to make sure I embody that in every facet of my life. I carry myself that way. I'm being kind to people on every level. I'm doing everything the right way and just letting the work speak for itself, And I'm making sure that I come in with a more intentional focus to independent wrestling, and making sure that I come in going, hey, how do I elevate what I'm doing? How do I elevate whoever I'm working with? How do I elevate the company I'm at? Okay, like, can I make sure that these people are packing in the seats? Can I make sure that we have a few hundred people? Can I make sure that these people, are reacting, responding the way that I need them to? Am I giving something to the industry? I've been very fortunate. I've been able to live my dream. I've been able to do facets of it. I've been able to travel the roads, meet awesome people, wrestle awesome people. But like, I can do both. I can make it to where I want to make it to, and I can give back to the industry at the same time. And I know how I can do that now. And I'm really excited to be able to really take this next path now. Because to me, this feels like a new playthrough. Sorry, I can't turn it off. But this feels
of course, you got to. It works, because I feel like the other phrase is a little bit taken right now by a certain nightmare. So we're gonna go with playthrough instead of that other word. But yeah, we now go to this, because now that we know that comeback needs to be a thing, when do we start getting the mentality of and the thought process of, I think I'm ready now? When do we get to being able to confirm that this can be a thing on February 18th?
So my thing with this has always been like, I in December I was working out, and for a long time my leg has not felt normal. All right, I see you, Gamble. All right, I see you. We were on one. We'll run one. It'll happen. It'll happen, my friend. So my thing is this. I definitely feel like if I don't feel 100%, I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to rush this,
Of
because if
course,
I
yeah,
come back and I'm a shell of myself, if I'm just doing it just to do it, then I'm not just letting my fans and believers down. I'm doing a disservice to myself and the quality of work and the quality of art that I want to put out. And I'm like, yeah, no, I can't do that. I can't do that to myself. I can't do that to the companies that are booking me. I can't. So I was like, I want to come back and I want to be as good or better, if not better. Because again, I'm 27. Like, listen, this injury is something, but I'm not trying to. I'm not gonna start going. We gotta go a little bit slower, kiddo. Yo, I'm not doing that. I'm like, no, like I need to be able to run fast, jump just as high, if not higher, and making sure that my legs are as secure as possible. I'm not going around it, seeing it through, going straight through it. And there's a lot of stake here. So I was looking at this Wrestlers Lab show. I saw Mag Zero announced, and I'm not even gonna lie, I was like, bet. All right. And I think I literally retweeted when they announced him. I was like, bet. And I'm like, and to me, I'm like, I'll be ready for that. There's no way. I will be ready for that. Like, there's no way. And to me, it's just like I'm gonna push through. I'm gonna make sure I am. And as I was working out in December and pushing, I was like, I feel good. And it was like, when I hit like a certain flow when I was working out, I hit all the leg workouts. I just finished in the bike. I was like, I feel real warm. There was this one workout where I worked out and then I like ran from the gym to the train because I could run and it felt okay. It felt normal. And I was like, oh, I'm good. Now it's just a matter of like making sure that I'm confident in this good. Like, it's not
that's
just a one day thing. It's like an everyday thing. Every day I feel good. So, I've been taking the gym very seriously. I've been hitting my diet has been insane right now. This is the healthiest and the cleanest I've felt in like since COVID time, which like I remember during COVID time, I really got myself into pretty good shape. I remember I was eating pretty clean. I was home. So I was just home cooking, making my own meals, drinking my protein shakes and just doing a million push-ups. So like, right now I'm feeling as good as I have in a long time. I am pretty sure not wrestling for almost a year or not bumping has probably been really good for the rest of my body.
more than likely that allowed you to also get some recovery as you're working out, as you're doing all this. Your body's feeling like, oh, okay, this doesn't all of a sudden hurt at like 2 in the morning. Like it's
Yeah,
one
no,
of
I
those
mean,
where
who
you
would have
get.
thought wrestling hurts? Who would have thought that?
I
You know?
never knew. There's not a reason why sometimes my neck hurts if I go this way. Yeah. Um but so now let's get into this though, because I do have to ask, how are you feeling right now? Because we are a little under a month away. So how are you feeling when it comes to, again, this being real now? Like us having this conversation really sets it in as well. This is the comeback now. We're here. I talked to Chris last week. He's definitely looking forward to it. He's seen what the competitors are talking about. I can imagine Max Zero is watching this like, okay, he thinks he's ready. And now we're here.
And listen, I that graphic, man, that really just actually hit me. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna like BS it. Like that was really something just now. And my feeling is, listen, my right now I'm all the work I'm doing is to make sure that I feel ready, that I'm prepared. Yeah, I feel good today. I feel really good. I worked out this morning. I had my protein shakes, ate my yogurts, had my fruit, I had my little seaweed, I had my little container of pasta. So I ate just enough carbs and not too much carbs. It was good. And I was like, all right, cool, that's it. And now I'm like, yo, I feel good. Next thing is it's about the work. Because when I was, rehabbing, the idea was, and this is going to sound a little depressing, is I couldn't walk. And I couldn't walk for the first month, essentially, or I couldn't walk well. Because if I have two crutches and I need to lean on the wall just to get to the bathroom and just to poop, like it would hurt me. I'd be uncomfortable just to use the bathroom. I'd be uncomfortable to take a shower. I had to be helped into the bathtub by my mom. Like, this stuff was not fun. And my thing was like, I'm getting better step by step. I just want to walk. And I used to keep saying that in PT. I used to keep saying it to myself. I just want to walk. And then I was able to walk. All right. I just want to be able to straighten my leg out. Okay. I just want to be able to do 10 leg raises, even if I'm just laying in my bed. Okay. I want to run. Okay. I can run now. Can I do 15 minutes on the elliptical? Okay. Can I do the bike? Okay. Can I run? Okay. Can I jump and land and not be scared? Even though the doc already told me, like, by the month 4, he's like, yeah, I mean, technically that leg is better than the other leg. That one is secure,
Yeah,
And I
this
was
is
just
gone
like,
through it all. Like, but I
they're
can
like,
imagine that is still because even when I dislocated my patella a while back, that was still the concern of can I actually walk on this okay right now?
mm-hmm.
And I feel like no matter what, unfortunately, when you go through injuries, that's always going to be the concern in the back of your mind of is this going to be okay if I do this? If I do this, is it overdoing it? So I can imagine even a little jump is like, am I going to be good right now if I try this?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think just jumping through those mental hurdles, obviously, and I don't think this is going to be too much of a secret that I'm revealing. I have been getting back into the ring the last few weeks, and I've been or well, 2 weeks ago, I jumped into the ring for the first time, full on really training. I've been around a few rings, and I kind of was like, but I'm not really feeling good, and I was like, oh, the only thing that was bad was my wind. I ran the ropes. I bumped a few times. I did my rolls. I did a little routine, and I was like, "Oh, I'm okay." I was just like, it's just hard to breathe, and also it's super cold." So like, I was like,
Yeah,
"All right."
that would do it to you. But no, that definitely makes sense. And no, I was gonna ask you, even though let's let's keep some kayfabe alive. But yeah, I can imagine that is needed though. That is the final
Yeah,
test of how are you feeling in there. A little bit blown up. Hey, it happens, especially this long away from a ring. Like this
yeah.
is the one thing I think no matter what, everyone is gonna say, and anyone that's listening to this has probably heard this a million times. There's no cardio that compares to being inside a squared circle.
Absolutely not. Like I could do an hour of elliptical and that would mean nothing. That would barely equate to 10 minutes in the ring.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing right now is just like, all right, I'm just getting ring ready. And I got a lot of time. And as we saw in that graphic, it's actually a very interesting matchup I'm in. Yeah, I'm looking forward to being back in the ring and being seen. That's exciting. And my thing is, I'm in a fans bring the weapons
Yeah,
match.
that
Like
was
we didn't talk about that part.
like
Let's talk about it.
I remember talking to Chris about this last week, and I'm like, okay, it's one thing that it's 5-on-5. Okay, cool. You have this multi-man. It's we could even do Survivor Series style. It's fine. Then let's up the ante. Let's now make it fans bring the like. Okay, so now from your side of this is not only your comeback. This is not only your first match back. It's 5-on-5, so you already have so much going on. And now it's fans bring the weapons, so that means you don't know what to expect either. Like,
So here's my thing is that it's a really good test because I literally went through I like and this is like I didn't even know the match was being changed until I saw on Twitter they're like, what if we did something experimental? And I was like, huh, okay, experimental. And I literally was like, I quote tweeted, I was like, experimental. Super Nintendo. I will listen. I'll take a Super Nintendo and I'll bash Max Zero's brains with it, but I cannot guarantee that it'll work after that.
yeah, I
I'll
don't
do
know
my
if you
best. I'll do my best though. I'll do my best.
yeah, I don't know if you wanna bring that in because yeah, that would probably get broken, especially with
I will
what
guarantee that Max Zero will also be broken though. It'll even out. It'll even out. He'll be broken too with it. So we're good. We're good. It'll be put to good use. But no, it's a good test. And that at the end of the day, this is what this is a test. And like I said, my path in wrestling and life has always been kind of a little difficult, a little weird, a little
not
complicated. And I
the
was like, my PlayStation. If it's
not
the PS3, the bulky one, we got it. Let's do it. Like, because I just have to hold it and drop it, and then he's dead, and then we're good.
that's instant KO right there.
Yeah,
If there's
with the
anything
match.
better than that, maybe don't. Again, like we got to talk about this off the air. What are you bringing in? just so we know. But
Listen, please, and I will tell you guys, bring all of your old broken accessories, bring all of your games, bring all of your memorabilia. Do not bring anything that you want back. Please do not bring anything that you love or cherish or value,
mm,
because a lot of things will be broken in that match.
yeah, I
Match
saw.
zero will be one of them, and anything that you bring and put in my hands will be the rest. But I will put it to good use because I will break it over his skull, over his body, and we will use that to win.
Not a PS1.
Oh man,
That
I
might
love
just
the
be
PS1.
taken and said it's going to be used, but that's just going to be taken to the back. But
That too. I might just some of it I might just keep, and I might just go home with
like,
that.
I saw certain people, and again, I'll say this here: please, no one offer up your children as a weapon, because this was tweeted out a few times. I'm like,
Oh my god.
no, like,
I'm not. I don't want little kiddo. Like it's like
no,
please, no humans,
no.
no animals, no living creatures. I'm good. Like I would rather not. I think I would just look at your child and be like, why are you giving me this small child? Please take him
It's like,
back.
it's like
I don't.
no, like,
Yeah, I don't have children of my own. I do not want yours, and I would not use one as a weapon. Please, no. I will alert the authorities. I'm good. Can I use your mom as a? I okay. I don't know if I'm using. I don't think I want to use anybody's mom as a weapon. You know what I mean? I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Um,
well,
yeah.
that also will be happening because Aaron Ash is on the opposing side as well.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
Aaron Ash is somebody that I know pretty well. I've actually wrestled him a few times actually, and know him very well back from my days where I would jump to CZW every once in a while, and I've actually wrestled him at Wrestlers Lab before during the Alchemy episodes, and I've actually pinned Aaron Ash before. So I am not afraid of Aaron Ash. I respect Aaron Ash. I know he's big. I know he's bad. I know he's strong. I've seen the Instagram videos. That dude deadlifts and squats like 2 trucks worth of weight. I get it. But I'm like, I've beat him before. I got no reason to believe I can't do it again. Listen, give me my games. Give it to me in legendary difficulty. I'll still come out on top.
There we go. And again, this match again. It means so much more. It's not just any ordinary match, and of course, it couldn't just be an ordinary match either. So that's why Wrestlers Lab said, "Let's experiment a little bit. Let's see what the fans will do, and let them do their worst, or do
Listen, I'm
their
excited
semi
too.
okay. Because let's not say their worst, because yeah, yeah. But but now let's go on to this because it's a new year. We're in 2024. I can imagine you're not looking past the 18th, but I can also imagine there are some things you're setting on your plate here. There are some things you're looking forward to in the future. So let's start talking about that. When it comes to now that you're getting back into the independent circuit, you're watching, you're seeing, and you're scouting. Who are some names that are on that list for Big Game Leroy? Who are some upcoming boss battles, if you will, that you have in your mind?
Oh man, if I have to start, there's so many, and I think I'd put out a soft list a few months ago, and then like it changed again. Um, Darius Lockhart has to be one of the first ones, and everything he's doing in with Ase Wrestling is really really cool. And like I went to the show like as a fan to show support. I like flew out and everything, and I wanted to check it out. And I was like, yo, this is beautiful. This is exactly the kind of stuff that we need to be a part of, that we need to be creating, and him as a talent, I'm like, yo, I want to get in the ring with that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's
Yeah,
awesome.
seeing what he's doing with that, it's amazing. Like, I'm glad. I'm also glad to see finally he decided to step back into the squared circle
Yeah,
at
absolutely.
Ashe and doing it now. Especially his first match back is against Darius Carter. That's going to be interesting to see. I can't
And that
wait.
was the next person on my list,
There you go.
Darius, the other Darius, as I think he would say.
So how about, so now we're just going to put it out in the air. The winner now has to face Big Game Leroy.
Listen,
Let's throw that
listen,
out there.
listen. I will face the best Darius.
This
My
is the
bet
clip.
is on Darius.
This is
That's who I know is going to win.
this is now the clip as well for another post. We're just going to
Yeah.
clip the graphic made here. The winner of Darius versus Darius has to face Big Game Leroy.
Yeah, no, listen. But yeah, no, those two are really high up my list.
Of course, yeah.
I would say Shug Dunkerton. I wrestled him in a scramble match a few years ago. And we had a little interaction. He got the better of me then. He asked the Pan-African Diaspora World Championship. And I would like that championship. And I would like a shot at that championship. And that is definitely there's a little bit of a personal story between me and him, and there's a little thing that I really want to say to him, get off my chest, because me and him had a little interaction, and I won't spoil it, but I did meet him when I went to AEW Dark, and the interaction I had was an interesting one, and I would love to have the opportunity in front of people to tell that story. So I think that that's one that I definitely want to have. Trish Adora, probably one of the best women wrestlers on the planet. I want to see her in the ring. Jordan Blade's another one who's been fantastic to me, and was actually checking up on me a lot. And I appreciate the crap out of her for that. Matt Makowski is another one who I think is awesome. And then, no. And then there's another one that I need to scratch off, and it actually goes with one of my goals for this year, which is I want the Wrestlers Lab Championship. And when I am done with Max Zero, because I will be done, I finish my games. I'm very focused on that, and I will finish what I've started with Max Zero. I will see this through. And when I do, I'm going for the Wrestlers Lab Championship. And I said I have to be intentional. I have to be a little bit more selfish. And I was like, hey, I'll let the work speak for itself. I'll do good. I have good matches. I'll keep winning. And it's like, no. Yale O'Neal is fantastic. He is a service and a credit to our industry. And I mean that in every facet. But I want that Wrestlers Lab Championship. Yale O'Neal has beaten me twice, clean, smack dab in the ring. He has tapped me out. He has passed me out, and he has embarrassed me. And I cannot let that slide. And I don't see any better way for myself to redeem myself than by taking the Wrestlers Lab Championship. And when I am done with Max Zero, I really do hope. I know he's got Trevor Aeon, who is another good brother, and who's got a very good chance of winning. Very, very good chance of winning. I hope Eel wins, because I want to beat Eel O'Neal for that championship.
There we go. So that also confirms you'll definitely have your eyes set on that matchup when it comes to February 18th.
Absolutely.
But here we go. We got John saying Leroy versus Lala. If Ray will help her get her free. I don't know about that last part, what he's talking about, but yeah.
Ray, what is going on with you and Auntie? I'm very confused. I told you I've been keeping up, but I'm a little confused. Lala got kidnapped. Like, what's going on? What's your role in that, my friend? I've seen some stuff.
I heard she's okay, though. I've been told by a few people, I can't disclose who. She's okay, though. That's all I know. She's doing okay. Fine. She's doing fine. I
wouldn't mind wrestling Lala, but I hope her, and I say this with all respect, because it seems like her life's kind of crazy. I know she's been dating some dudes. I know they haven't been getting the hint that she's not really wanting to date them anymore. I saw some footage of her, I guess, being kidnapped. I'm very concerned for her. But listen, if she's good and she's not kidnapped, I will wrestle her happily. I respect the lariat, but I will duck it. I'll be ready for it, and I'll duck it.
There you go. And again, John, don't instigate when I have my friend here. Like, don't tell, what? I have nothing to do with this. I know she's fine. That's it. But so now I do have to throw in one more name when we're talking about names here, because I can imagine round 2 needs to happen. Mm-hmm. You versus Dan Moff for an actual match here. Even though, again, we might see the platform crossbody, as Wrestlers Lab called it earlier. But just, the cross-platform is what they called it. Cross-platform. And that's actually a good name for it.
Oh. It is. Cross-platform. I like it.
We'll give that to Wrestlers Lab there. But I can imagine that's also in your mindset of finally being able to fully go through that playthrough with Dan Moff.
Absolutely. I think there's definitely a level of redemption there. And I definitely want to have this match. And I named all those names because I think the Leroy that we're going to see when I come back is going to be a little bit different. And there's going to be a lot more focus. And there's going to be a lot more intensity, a lot more passion. And there's sometimes a feeling of like, I'm focused on my game, having a good time. I want to make people happy. And very rarely do you get to see all that passion really come out. And I'm glad that you mentioned before, you were like, yo, like people saw that passion. It still came out. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I ain't seen nothing yet. I have been chomping at the bit for almost 10 months to get back in the ring, get back to doing what I love, getting what I feel like I was put on this earth to do, which is wrestle. And y'all ain't seen nothing yet. And I'm very excited to show y'all what I've been cooking, what's been brewing under the hood, so to speak, and bring that forward. And when I wrestle guys like Dan Moff, who I've wrestled already, and I didn't really feel like I gave him my best, I'm excited to bring something new to him. Because if he thinks he's seen me at my best, fallen, broken, one-legged, absolutely not. I got a lot more left in the tank. Not going away, not giving up. You see a game over screen, you hit continue, and you play again, right?
It's the only way to do it as well. It's the only way to just it has to be step back in. We have to. But that list again, it's also a just insane list right there. And I can imagine to any promoters listening right now, they're like, okay, we have to make this happen. I can imagine one because I know he's always watching. So Pete, if you're listening as well, just start writing these things down, Pete. Just start writing these things down.
Yeah, no, and I absolutely know, and I'm excited for the We Are Wrestling show. Um, I will most likely be there if to support physically in person, even if I'm not wrestling on it. I'm not. The Wrestlers Lab show also worked for me because it gave me the time to get ready. Because I also, like I said before, it was very intentional. I wanted the time and the floor to make sure I was in ring shape.
Of course.
Again, I would not want to just rush to We Are Wrestling just because. Yeah, I'm fit, I'm cleared, but I'm not in shape. I'm a little flabby. You could see I was eating my feelings early on during the injury. Like that's not how I wanted to do things. I was like, yo, I'm gonna come back February 19th. I didn't make some grand announcement that I'm taking in the bookings. I haven't announced that yet.
No.
And I will, if I'm allowed to do it, I will talk people into the seats for Wrestlers Lab. I know that we sold out front row, but for the general admission, for if you're on the fence, if you're in the New York, New Jersey area, you see, Wrestlers Lab is a test for me. This is a fans bring the weapons match. This is a little bit of a grudge match between myself and Mag Zero. And I would say, sorry, I misspoke a little bit. It is a grudge match between me and Mag Zero. That is who I'm focused on. That is my objective. The game I need to finish, so to speak, literally, figuratively, everything. And my whole thing, Reese's Row indeed. My whole thing is, this is how I know that I'm ready. This is how I know that I'm back. Because if I get through that match, and I perform the way I know I can, I'm back. And I'm not taking any prisoners. I'm not taking any excuses. I'm back, and we're going. And we're not stopping until I get to where I know I can get to. And that's why I haven't announced, Mania week. I said I might be around. I said I'm around, but I'm like, I'm focused on this, and we're going from there. After the fact, we'll see. I got my eyes on Invictus. I know they just announced their comeback. Shout out to Invictus Pro Wrestling. I was their longest reigning champion in history. I am emotionally invested in that company as well. Shout out to We Are Wrestling. Listen, they made a point to try to take care of me and highlight me while I was hurt. Wrestlers Lab, same exact thing. I'm very passionate about these companies, and all I want to do is uplift these companies, be there for them, give them a top-notch, representation that they deserve, and at the same time, elevate myself, because I want people to know, like, yo, listen, big game Leroy, I didn't peak. I still got levels to climb up to. I'm not resting on my laurels. Yeah, I went viral 3 times. Yeah, I'm a PWI 500 ranked wrestler. Yeah, I'm this and that. But I'm also like, yo, y'all ain't seen nothing yet. The best is yet to come. And that's why I've been so focused on making sure that when I came back, I was ready. And no better first test than Max Zero. Fans bring the weapons match 5-on-5 with some of the 5 best dudes on the East Coast.
You legit look at that. And again, it's a lot of talent right there. Which again, it's a perfect way to come back, make that impact. And again, surely have that test, see what's next for Big Game Leroy from there. So that's Absolutely. Awesome to see. And I can't wait. And here we go. Glad to have you back. We're all glad to have him back. It's a good thing to have the good brother here and to have him back. But again, we're almost an hour in. We talked a bunch of great wrestling. We talked about your mentality. We talked about all that. But I feel like we would do a disservice if we don't talk a little bit about video games with Big Game Leroy. I feel like I would mess up here if I don't talk at least a little bit. So I can imagine, again, I know you're doing the workouts, you're getting ready for the in-ring return. But what are you playing when you do have some downtime? What's been on the agenda for Big Game Leroy as far as video games?
This was a year of games, man. And I mean, honestly, like when you get to play video games and you don't have someone trying to throw a punch at you in the ring, like you get surprised how far you get in games. You're getting pretty far in them. So I was playing a ton of. I got hurt leading into Tears of the Kingdom coming out on the Switch, and honestly, I was like, this injury sucks, but listen, I got time to play this game, and I did, and I very much enjoyed it. I was trying to get really far into it. I put it down for a little bit once we got into the fall time, but I beat it like about 2-3 months ago. Enjoyed it. That's my game of the year. Um, Also over the summer, I was playing a ton of. I had jumped back into Persona 5 Royale, and I was just
Ooh,
like,
okay.
"Yo, so much fun." I'm not super far into it, but early on in the injury that was getting me through. Um, I was playing a lot of NBA 2K. I had not touched that series in so long, but it was on sale on PlayStation, and I was like, why not? And then I was like, oh, huh, okay, all right, let's do this. Um, and let's see, we got into the fall, Spider-Man 2, that like chef's kiss, what a fun ass game. Uh Also played a ton of Super Mario Wonder when it came out.
Of course.
I was just lovely gifted by some good brothers Super Mario RPG for Christmas, so I will be jumping into that very, very soon. Um, and of course, Mario Kart, Mario Party, Smash Brothers, they're a must at any friend gathering. So I'm just like, yo, this is just that's always those are the go-tos.
Of course, yeah.
I just had a lot of time to just play those games, and I've been having a good time. Oh, and I've been sprinkling in a little Overwatch as well. I occasionally jump into it. It's not 2017 anymore, but it's fun to get into sometimes.
Gotcha. No, definitely. Again, we had to talk about this because why not? Again, it's big game Leroy. We have to touch on some video games, but also, like we mentioned before we even started recording this, it was perfectly timed. It was just announced today. They showed the artwork for what 2K24 would feature. So it's just a little bit of an updated logo. It still kind of seems like the same, but it's just the little teaser now. So
Yeah.
officially, we'll be getting something on Tuesday. But I love how they also showed us a referee shirt with 2K24. So I'm hoping that means finally special guest referee again. I'm hoping.
Maybe. I mean, listen. I like the direction that 2K's been going since the soft pause. I do feel like it's a considerable improvement for what they were doing years ago. I did skip the last 2K, particularly because I got hurt, and I was also just kind of like, I don't think I really want to play a wrestling game right now.
Yeah,
Although
gotcha.
some friends of mine did have, they, did loan it to me at times, and I did play a little bit of it, and I was like, all right. And I was like, it's still pretty solid. I think the previous game had improved a lot more, and I was expecting a little bit more improvement. So I hope it's again, just steps in the right direction and some new modes again. And, that's always my feeling with these 2K games. I'm like, listen, I want these games to have everything and feel like you're adding to it instead of subtracting and then putting something else in there. Like, oh, we're taking away this, giving you that now. And I'm like, okay, but why'd you take away the other thing? Like, I like that. Like,
Yeah, that's kind of been the thing. That's like, can we just get both? Like, is that not an option? Like, you don't have to take this away. But I digress. Hopefully for 2K24, we are getting some more additions without having to do subtractions here.
absolutely.
But
Listen, I'm hopeful. And listen, give me an excuse to jump back into 2K wrestling 2K. I will happily jump into it. I was very happy when they had brought back GM mode, even if it felt a little like, a little bare bones. Like I was kind of like, all right, you could add more into it. But I'm hoping that there's really some strides in all those respects.
same, no. I'm definitely hoping now. Again, I understand they wanted to give us something. And they're like, hey, we'll spearhead it with Woods, we'll spearhead it with Breeze. And now that they've had time to like actually sit on it and actually work on it, hopefully we do get something better for the next upcoming game here. So
Yeah.
and hey, when 24 comes out, well, you hit us back up. Right now, the 23 is kind of gone right now because I will admit I haven't played as much 23 as I usually play 2K. Just because I've also been busy with some things. This is now a thing. Respect the Craft is in full motion. So unfortunately, 2K time isn't as around as it used to.
And listen, I can't just play 2K, go online, and then just get cracked by you guys. Like you guys, like come on, I got a rep to protect. Like I can't just I gotta put some hours into this. I gotta lab it out, so to speak. Because if not, y'all gonna wash me, and I'm good. I'm not doing that to myself. I'm big game for a reason.
There you go. But I will say without saying his name, I'll just say a certain person that's elite used to be the one to beat us a lot of the time. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I mean he's quite obnoxious. pretty sure he's on TV right now.
Yeah, I
Once
think
this
he
is
was.
done,
Yeah,
I think he's wrestling tonight, and I
yeah,
think once he's done, once this is over, I think I need to
yeah. I
flip
think.
over to TNT and see what's going on.
Yeah.
TNT, TBS,
I believe they're on TBS tonight. Yeah.
TBS. Okay,
Yes.
must be hockey or basketball. Or something.
Yeah. We'll be there eventually. We'll watch it eventually because yeah, it's gonna be a good tag match. But before I let you go, Leroy, let me make sure if you guys haven't already, make sure you're following this guy on all of his social media there. Follow him on Instagram, Big Game Leroy right there. Follow him on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Big Game Leroy
Twitter,
right
call
there.
it Twitter. We're
I-
calling it Twitter.
I say whatever because at this point, just so they know what we're talking about. Because you know there's going to be that one person. What's Twitter?
That
It's
one
like,
smart ass. That one smart ass.
but also, don't forget, if you haven't already, get your tickets. Be there for Wrestlers Lab presents Showabunga 2 Mecha Mayhem. Again, see Big Game Leroy in his return here in a true, just insane fashion. Mecha Mayhem match. Fans bring the weapons. That'll be happening live February 18th from the Mecca. And to everyone watching, thank you guys so much. Leroy, thank you again for joining me here, brother. I'm glad we were able to have this discussion. And of course, I'm glad to see you back. And can't wait to see you back in the ring, man.
Listen, I'm excited for it to be seen. I'm excited to be back in the ring. And listen, the stuff I'm cooking up, man, you guys aren't ready for, man. And that's all I'll say. You guys are not ready for the year that I'm about to have with you guys. It'll be a lot of fun. And I can't wait to play.
Oh, no, there you go. And I can't wait for all you to see it as well. And to everyone watching, as always, don't forget to be wise, be genuine, be real, be better people, respect the craft. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.